Hey everyone, welcome back to another video where I show you how to use the Forgotten Adventures module Nexus. This is part 2 of my little tutorial series I'm working on just to help people out. In part 1, we went over how textures work, how assets work, and a little bit on how elevation works, such as what elevation a token rests on, which again is 0, and sort of just layering and working on the layers in your map, and also using the layer manager that they added on. But in this video, I wanted to work on showing how the building tool works more, as this one has seen a lot of work and it's pretty handy, or it's very handy. I use it all the time. And I'm planning on showing how to build the building and also use the portal function. But in the next video, I'm going to go over multi-leveled buildings. But I'm saving that for the other video just because I don't want it to get too kind of convoluted and all in one. But just to show an example, here is a multi-leveled tower, 3 stories. Player can walk in, go to the ladder, move up. They can look out windows, move around, move up to the 3rd tower floor, see off the walls, and then easily go back down. Now I'm still learning how the level tool works in version 14 of Foundry, as it's a little unique, and the Nexus module does have a couple of its own things you have to do. And as you can see, there's these window slits from the 2nd floor that I did not get added onto the specific layer, but we'll go over that in the next video. So back to this one. So the building tool and elevation. So like the others, you'll just click on your Nexus icon on the bottom left. And I want to make something fairly simple, so I'll just do ashen wood. And I like this one, the wood interior and the stone exterior. And then for floor, we'll do some more ashen wood floor. And again, this is just a little how-to, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like to get the assets I enjoy, which are ashen and earthy. I think they just look the best. So, starting out simple, we will do a basic wall, which snap to grid is not on, so I'll Control Z to remove, snap to grid, and we will draw a wall or building that is, we'll do 8 by 5, and then we will make a little side room. So now, the main thing to know is that the main building tool is more so for the exterior walls. When you want to get in depth, you'll switch over to the inner wall, and here you can click and place and double click to end the wall, but you can also change which asset you have. So we'll go to this one, and just to make it look a little nicer. And we'll also add one more room right here, something small. And then you're probably noticing these shadows are kind of harsh, at least I am. So we're going to go down to the drop shadow tool, and very similar to how the assets work, it's just a little click to toggle on and off. You can adjust the scale. You can adjust the offset, which I usually like to make them not super dark and obvious. I kind of like to keep them just a little smaller. So we have our walls, we have the interior walls where we want, and before we save, we want to add some doors. So we'll click on the portal option, and here you have add door, add window, and add gap. Door is as it is, sounds like a door. Window, same thing. Place them down. Gap simply just creates a hole in the wall. And with this, let's say you place something down. If you have snap to grid on, you can snap it and change how intense you want the snapping. I found keeping it in the 1/2 snap is how you get it locked in the grid, which is nice. Now, one thing to note is if you have multiple portals, the one that you're using will change color. And so if you want to delete one, you can highlight over it, click it, and just delete key. And there you go. And to expand, there's these small little nodes on the edges. You can grab those and simply just move them in and out. And if we turn snap to grid off, you can just easily do it with no locking on it. But we'll delete that and we'll go to our door. And here we can just choose the door we want. We'll go with this one for the outside, and we'll make it a double door. So to do that, we'll place it in the building editor options for the portal. We'll click double door. We will bump this up to the side, and there is this flip hinge option that you can use to change which way it opens, but there's also open direction, because depending on the door, flip hinge may reverse the door. So we'll keep that like that. And then you can also change the door animation. So for instance, dungeons that have sliding or ascending or descending doors, or jails with sliding doors, things like that. So we'll leave that as is. Now you're probably wondering, what is the door frame option? And these are the actual Forgotten Adventures door frame options. I usually go in with pillars later and add them in, but we'll keep it simple for now. And the main thing about these is you have to make sure you're getting the right ones. So we can do, there we go. And then you can change the scale and such with these as well. So we'll do that, because I always like to make the frames sort of blend in with the wall. And so there's our first door. Now what we'll do is change the door asset. Control Z. We'll put a new door on. We will change it to this door. Make it so the door opens into the room. And one thing I usually like to do is stick it out just a little bit. That way when the door's open, you can still see it butted up against the wall. And then we'll do one more door. Same door frame. Shrink it down just a little bit. Reverse the door angle. So now we got some doors. There we go. And again, we'll go back over and fill these in with pillars or something. So now we can switch over to the window tool, and very similar to the door, it just has different wall functions that are already built in. So I have a small window slit, a standard looking window, and then the normal window frames. So same as the doors, we'll just click where we want them. We'll put one in that room, 3 in that room, 2 there, and we'll do 1 right there next to the door. So they're already set. So now all we got to do is hit commit and save. So now we have a generic building. And one thing to note is that the building's walls are always set at an elevation of 20 by default. And then the floor texture is set at 0. So, and we can go into the level tool and click our wall and see where it is. And we can also, like the other assets, you can right click the wall if you need to edit. In doing so, you can go back to the portal tool and remove windows or doors if you'd like. Or you can right click and edit with the pencil icon similar to the assets and textures. So now that we have our building, let's decorate it with a couple things like a fireplace. And we're just going to keep it pretty simple. So we'll just do basic fireplace. We'll do some comfy chairs. Let's see what color palette we'd like. Red. And if there's a fireplace involved, we're going to put the shadows just slightly behind the objects just to make it look like they're maybe getting lit up. As you can see, the shadows as well are going under the texture, which I can figure out why and try to do an update. There's some chairs. We'll put a nice little table in between them. We'll see if we can find a good flower pot to put on the table. If not, we may just use one of the top options. Oh, that works. We'll find a table with some decorations on it. There we go. And again, this isn't supposed to be perfect, just sort of an idea of what you can do and really how quick you can do it. We'll throw this bed in the main room or in the bedroom. And then we'll throw some storage boxes in here. And let's throw a rug under the chairs. Something, there we go. We'll do 0.5. There we go. And now what we'll do, go into the light tool. We'll put a light down. Give it some nice fireplace ambiance. Now, one thing to note about the building tool with Nexus is that not only does it already put walls down, but it does put windows down and doors down. And the doors are all animated. So that's very helpful, especially if you're making like a big dungeon. Usually the wall part is the one thing I feel like most people don't like doing. So now we'll pull out one of our tokens that we have, turn their torch off, open the door, step inside, and there we have it. We have windows that are vision based. We have rooms with animated doors. All in just a couple minutes. I'd say the building tool has been probably the best function I've seen with the Nexus module, and really it's not that performance heavy either, which is pretty impressive. But obviously, if you get your maps to be quite filled and compact with assets, they will start to tank. But I can say I do have some maps with quite a lot of assets in them. Here is one dungeon I've been making. It's based off of a dungeon I've seen on, I believe, the Shadow Dark subreddit, and I was just taking the design and adding to it for a little one shot I was working on. But this is all made within Nexus using the building tool, the paths tool, and a lot of elevation and such. But if this video is helpful, please like or subscribe or stick around. I'm working on part 3 here soon, where we'll be going over the levels test to show how we do different ladders and such. And it'll be going into the building tool a little bit more in depth as well, and showing how the regions work, because that is one of the big things that Nexus has already done and configured, which makes things easy, and one of the big things with version 14 of Foundry. So that'll be it. So thanks for checking it out.